And we're getting views from the external cameras of the International Space Station. You can see the forward end of the Dragon right there, that soft capture ring fully extended. And the sequence for moving in from waypoint 2 to docking has begun. We're now inside 20 meters from the International Space Station. This sequence, as we move in, will take about 4 minutes until we get a contact and capture of the Dragon, bringing our 4 crew members inside Dragon back inside the International Space Station. Some of the calls you heard during this approach, we of course have Mark Van High inside the International Space Station monitoring the approach. Of course, with the 4 crew members of the Dragon itself inside watching the sequences here. The big loop you're hearing is a communications channel of the space-to-ground communications as well as Dragon-to-ground. So all the communications you're hearing is being heard by the ground teams here in Mission Control Houston as well as Mission Control in Hawthorne, and of course the crew inside Dragon as well as inside the International Space Station. We're now 15 meters in closing.
Love to see this view of the Crew Dragon approaching the space station autonomously, driving itself. If you recall from the previous version of the previous version of Dragon, the cargo capsules, they dock to the station actually not by docking but by berthing, which essentially required the robotic Canadarm to grapple the spacecraft and bring it to the station manually. So to see Crew Dragon, this upgraded version, flying on its own without any assistance and able to dock autonomously with the space station is an awesome capability that's just so great to see with our eyes here.
Meters. Copy, 10 meters.
At 10 meters away from this vantage point, you see the Earth there in the lower left corner. We're now flying 262 statute miles over India.
Great shot of the forward.
5 meters.
Great shot of the forward end of Crew Dragon there. Located near the top are the forward Draco thrusters, which of course are not being utilized for today's maneuvers. All the maneuvers are managed with the service section Draco thrusters.
Crew hands off point, 3 meters in closing.
Hands off. Copy, hands off. Soft capture confirmed. Copy, soft capture confirmed.
And with that, we have a confirmed contact and soft capture. Dragon and station were flying 262 miles over western China. That docking time, 6:35 a.m. Central Time, 11:35 GMT.
Soft capture ring retraction in progress. Endeavour, copy.
Upcoming, the teams will command Crew Dragon to begin the hard capture by commanding the hooks. Again, they will operate in 2 sets of 6, so a total of 12 hooks. Will hook in and close, and we'll have confirmation of hard mate complete.
From a live view of the International Space Station Flight Control Room, you can see we're losing some of those live views from the International Space Station, but that mask has been turned off to make sure we protect some of the communications equipment, the space-to-ground antennas, and auto-track sensors aboard the station. So we should be regaining some views shortly. In the meantime, we did have confirmed contact and capture at 6:35 a.m. Central Time, 11:35 GMT. And that was after an on-time undocking from the original docking port at 5:45 a.m. Central Time.
There on your screen, a shot of both the pressurized and unpressurized sections of Crew Dragon. The pressurized section being the conical portion at the top. That's where the crew is currently sitting in their seats. And the bottom half is the trunk, and that's where we place unpressurized cargo, such as the International Docking Adapter upon transportation from Earth to the International Space Station. That's where those were placed for transportation to station, where they were then removed and installed in their now permanent homes. The trunk will be jettisoned whenever it's time for Crew Dragon to return home, and allow the heat shield at the bottom of the pressurized section to be exposed and allow the Crew Dragon to splash down safely in the Atlantic Ocean.
Dragon SpaceX ring retraction is complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration. Never copy.
With that side view of Crew Dragon, we have a great shot of the service section Draco thrusters that I mentioned earlier. They're the portholes there on the side of Crew Dragon. That is where the thrust comes out from the Draco thrusters, and those are the service section thrusters that we utilized for today's port relocation maneuvering.
station Endeavour on the big loop. MCS is configured, proceeding with hook driving.
Station copies.
Endeavour copies.
With the soft capture ring retracted before the hard mate sequence can begin, again there are 12 hooks that are going to secure Crew Dragon Endeavour to the International Docking Adapter. Teams here in Mission Control Houston configured the International Space Station to be on control moment gyro. Attitude control. Now that it's switched over to control moment gyros, they can begin the hard docking sequence with the driving of the first set of hooks. They're going to drive 6 at a time to make 12 hooks total, securing the Dragon Endeavour to the International Docking Adapter. And with that, we have confirmation that the first set of hooks are driving. As the first set of hooks continue to drive, there are again 2 sets of hooks, 6 each, to hard mate the Crew Dragon Endeavour to the International Space Station. A recap of today's activities. Early this morning, the crew woke up at about 1 o'clock a.m. Central Time, getting ready for their day, eating some food, brushing their teeth, and getting suited up to get ready to go inside Dragon and begin today's port relocation maneuver. After they ingress the Dragon and close the hatches both on the Dragon side and International Space Station, NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei closed the hatch on the station side, the APAS hatch, after affixing a docking target. The crew was suited up, performed leak checks in their SpaceX spacesuits, and got ready for an undocking of the original docking ports where Crew Dragon Endeavour was just about an hour ago. The Crew Dragon Endeavour and the 4 crew members inside, Shane Kimbrough, Megan MacArthur, Thomas Pesquet, and Aki Hoshide, undocked at 5:45 a.m. Central Time about an hour ago and made the transition to the new docking port, making contact and capture with the port that you're seeing here, the Zenith or space-facing port, at 5:35 a.m. Central Time, completing the 50-minute maneuver from the original docking port to its new home, making room on the forward harmony part for the Boeing CST-100 Starliner to dock here in next week. July 30th is when it's set to launch, making contact and capture with the International Space Station set 24 hours later, July 31st.
At this point in time, the first set of hooks have closed and the second set are driving. Again, there are 12 in total and they operate in 2 sets of 6. And we're waiting for confirmation of the closure of the second set of hooks.
Endeavour SpaceX on the big loop. Hard capture is complete. You are go to raise your visors.
Copy, hard capture complete. Visors up.
And with that, we have confirmation that the second set of hooks has finished driving. So all 12 hooks now securing the Crew Dragon Endeavour to the International Space Station. Teams here will now undergo a series of steps to pressurize the vestibule in between the Dragon hatch and the station hatch, just like we saw earlier during today's coverage with the depressurization of the original docking port. We'll see everything in reverse to allow the pressurization to equalize, making sure everything is good before opening up the hatch and letting our 4 crew members inside Dragon back inside the International Space Station. So now that the Crew-2 NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur, European Space Agency astronaut Thomas Pesquet, and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Aki Hoshide have redocked with the International Space Station, we're going to wrap our live coverage of Dragon's second port relocation maneuver. The crew will take some time now to get out of their suits and begin the process of opening up the hatches in about 2 hours. As mentioned earlier, the relocation has freed up Harmony's forward port for the docking of another commercial spacecraft built to carry humans, Boeing's CST-100 Starliner. This will be Boeing's second test flight of Starliner without crew, as they seek to put the spacecraft through all the phases of a mission before flying people inside of it for the first time. It's set to launch from Florida's Space Coast on July 30th and arrive at the space station about 24 hours later on July 31st. Once Starliner arrives and docks, we'll have another historic first, with 2 commercial spacecraft built to fly humans docked to the space station at the same time.
Meanwhile, Crew-2 will remain on station until this fall. Crew-2 NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur, JAXA astronaut Aki Hoshide, and ESA astronaut Thomas Pesquet are targeting early to mid-November for a return to Earth inside Crew Dragon Endeavour off the coast of Florida. But before they go, NASA's SpaceX Crew-3 mission will launch and arrive with NASA astronauts Raja Chari, Tom Marshburn, and Caleb Barron, as well as ESA astronaut Matthias Maurer. So we'll have another full house with 2 Dragon crews docked to the space station at the same time.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Docking sequence is complete. Ground will be enabling hardline power and comm connection shortly. You are go to dock your suits per procedure 4.012. We will be changing cameras to external only.
Copy all. Docking system complete. We are go to dock suits. Arthur, thanks to you and your team and all the folks in Houston who got us here safely back on the station.
So again, with those words from the crew and from here, Mission Control Houston, and the teams, of course, over at Mission Control Hawthorne, that'll wrap up our coverage for today's port relocation maneuver. Crew Dragon Endeavour now hard-mated to its new docking port on the space-facing side of the International Space Station. That's it for the action for us during this operation, but there's more to come. Later today, we'll provide coverage of the launch of the Russian multipurpose logistics module. That coverage is set to begin at 10:30 a.m. Central Time, so stick with us and we'll provide that launch coverage up until it launches at 10:58 a.m. Central Time. That's not it for this week. We, of course, have another operation coming on Friday. We'll have the undocking of Progress 77, a Russian cargo vehicle. It'll be bringing the Piers docking compartment with it. We'll set our coverage for 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, July 23rd for an undocking at 9:15 a.m. Central Time. Lots of actions to come. Well, thanks again for one more time for tuning in for today's coverage. We'll hope you join us, of course, for the upcoming coverage of some of the Russian operations, and of course for the launch of OFT-2, Orbital Flight Test 2, of the Boeing Starliner later this month, and again this fall for a lot of upcoming operations, including cargo missions. We have the Northrop Grumman 16 mission and the SpaceX CRS-23 cargo mission, and of course our crew operations for Crew-2 and Crew-3 activities in the fall. Until then, so long.
Moscow aerosol filter inspection complete.
For Dragon to ground
No comments. Copy, Oleg.
Go ahead, Arthur.
Hey Shane, just for your awareness, we will not be able to receive calls from Dragon to ground for the next approximately 15 minutes, so if you need to hail SpaceX, please use the big loop.